मेरे जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरे जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। सारे राग विराग हुए अब, सारे राग विराज हुए अब, मोह सारे प्यार हुए अब, मोह सारे प्यार हुए अब। एक तुही मेरी बंधन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। सारे राग विराग हुए अब, मोह सारे प्यार हुए अब। एक तुही मेरी बंधन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। अब रत रहा भटका भटक, अब रत रहा भटका भटक। भक्तों माँ अभी में सब तक, भक्तों माँ अभी में सब तक। हानु केवल तुझको हे माँ, हानु केवल तुझको हे माँ। एक तुही मेरे लगन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। सारे राग विराग हुए अब, सारे राग विराग हुए अब, मोह सारे प्यार हुए अब, मोह सारे प्यार हुए अब। एक तुही मेरी बंधन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। मेरे चरणों पर हूँ अर्पण, मेरे चरणों पर हूँ अर्पण। मेरे जीवन अवगुण अवगुण, मेरे जीवन अवगुण अवगुण। सारे विलाई दूर करो माँ, सारे विलाई दूर करो माँ। एक तुही मेरे लगन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। सारे राग विराग हुए अब, मोह सारे प्यार हुए अब। एक तुही मेरा बंधन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। जय माँ जय माँ जय जय माँ, 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 जय माँ जय माँ जय जय माँ।
गजानन स्वामी की जय। Adi Shakti Jagadamba Devi Mata ki Jai, Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki Jai, Shri Vendravan Viharlal ki Jai, Om Bhati Mahadeva ki Jai. My devotees, firstly, allow me to say to each and every one of you, Sabkoi Sitaram. And thank you all so very much for being here. Before we begin, I must ask Ms. Kavita ji to bring scum and bring greetings, and then we immediately stand for arati.
Sitaram, Namaste. Firstly, I would like to welcome the officiating Pundit, Ajay Rambally, and his Pitaji, Pundit Kimraj Rambally, the Durav Shakti Kirtan group, and everyone else who is present here to the Saraswati Devi Mandir on this auspicious day where we celebrate the festival of Vasant Panchami, also known as Saraswati Jayanti. I do hope you all enjoy the rest of the night's proceedings, and may Maha Saraswati blessings bestow upon all of you all present. I will now pass you over to Pandit Rambal.
Beautiful. Prem se bolo Saraswati Devi Mata ki Jai. My devotees, aap log karao jaye. Let us all stand for our opening arati. Hari Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varare Kamarupani Vidyaramham Karishyami Sirhara Bhavatu Me Saraume Saraswataye Namaha. Om Yani Gani Japapani Janmandara Gradani Cha Dani Dani Vinashanti Prarakshamam Pare Pare. Jai Saraswati Mata Maya Jai Saraswati Mata Guna Vaibhava Shalini Saraguna Vaibhava Shalini Dribhuvana Vikayata. Om Jai Saraswati Mata.
Jai Saraswati Mata. Maya Jai Saraswati Mata. Satguru Vaibhava Shalini. Satguru Vaibhava Shalini. Tribhuvan Vikayata. Om Jai Saraswati Mata.
सर्वगुणवैभवशाली त्रिभुवनविख्याता ॐ जय सरस्वती माता।
सरस्वती माता मैया जय सरस्वती माता सर्वगुण वैभवशाली सर्वगुण वैभवशाली त्रिभुवन विख्याता ॐ जय सरस्वती माता जय मां देवी मां जय मां देवी मां जय सरस्वती मां जय मां देवी मां जय मां देवी मां जय सरस्वती मां जय मां देवी 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 मां जय सरस्वती मां जय मां देवी मां जय मां देवी मां जय सरस्वती मां जय मां देवी मां जय मां देवी मां जय सरस्वती मां Prem se bolo Saraswati Devi Mata ki. Please take your seats, my dear friends. So once again, allow me to take this opportunity and say to each and every one of you, Sabkoi Sitaram, and thank you all so very much for being here. Tapana Kimraji, Baba, thank you for performing puja in such a proficient and efficient manner. And to Kavita and her beautiful family, along with the President, Bayasi Gobenji, thank you for having me to this beautiful Saraswati Devi Mandir. To the members of my group, thank you for being here. And to Sankhya Television, one of the #1 stations when it comes to promoting, enlightening and increasing awareness of Hinduism locally and internationally. So to Ramesh Paji, Bhaiya, thank you so much for being here. My dear devotees, our message tonight is very simple, very beautiful and very much easy to understand. But before we begin, I want to ask you something. If someone comes up to you and they say, who is Saraswati Maa? What does Saraswati Maa represent? What does she signify? What will you tell them? If your son or daughter looks at you and says, Mama, Papa, who is Saraswati Maa? What does she do for us? What will you tell them? If a friend from another faith comes to you and say, who is Saraswati Maa? What does she represent and mean? What will you tell them? Think about it. As you think about it, I ask you to put your hands together, close your beautiful eyes and bow your heads. As we pray with love, we pray with devotion tonight. And as your eyes are closed and your heads are bowed, I ask you to meditate upon the divine form of Saraswati Maa. And while you meditate upon her, I ask you to focus upon the sound of my voice. Hari Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakote Samamprabha Nirvignam Kuru me Deva Sarvakara Shu Sarvara Saraswati Namastubhayam Varareka Marubani Virayarambham Karishyami Sirhir Bhava Tume Sada Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Asmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sirhi Burhi Bradadevi Bhakti Mukti Bradayani Mandra Murati Sada Devi Mahalakshmi Namostute Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Sansara Saran Bhujagendraharam Saravasandham Hridayarvindam Bhavam Bhavane Sahidam Namami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. 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 Prem se bolo Devi Mata ki jai. Saraswati Devi Mata ki jai. So devotees, right where you're sitting, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to clap with me and sing with me, as loud as you can, as proud as you can, in the name of the Devi. Together, no music, just you and I. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Beautiful, everybody. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. By yourself. Amba Bhavani Damba Bhavani. Beautiful. Amba Bhavani Damba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba. Beautiful. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Everybody. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. 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 Amba Bhavani. Everybody. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba. Beautiful. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba. Amba. Together. Amba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba. Amba Bhavani. Beautiful, everybody. Amba Bhavani.
Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba
Jagadamba. Everybody. Amba Bhavani Jagadamba Bhavani. With every bit of energy that you have, as loud as you can, let the entire village hear you. Prem se bolo Saraswati Devi Mata ki. Prem se bolo Lakshmi Devi Mata ki. Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Jagadamba Devi Mata ki. Beautiful. So, have you all figured out the answer to the question? Who is Saraswati Maa? What does she represent? What does she symbolize? How does she impact your life and my life? Anybody want to take a guess? If you don't know, I will tell you. That's why I am here. So be very attentive, okay? Saraswati Maa is the goddess of something that starts with the letter K. Anybody know? Knowledge. Excellent. Saraswati Maa is the goddess of knowledge. And when you look at a murti or you look at a picture of Saraswati Maa, you see various items, various objects. And each item, each object that Saraswati Maa has, it represents something. So if you look at the Saraswati Maa murti or you look at a Saraswati Maa picture, you will see different things. And I want to tell you what some of these things mean. Firstly, Saraswati Maa possesses the books. And the books represent knowledge. But devotees, what do we use knowledge for? Knowledge is something that we must use to teach. Knowledge is something that must be shared. How many people in the world today, when they have knowledge, they share it? Or how many people stingy with their knowledge? How many of you as individuals, you may want assistance with something, you may want guidance or something, and you turn to someone who is knowledgeable and they turn you away. Why? Because they don't want to help you. They don't want to share that knowledge. Saraswati Maa with the books, she tells us knowledge is something that must be shared. And when she is in each and every one of our lives, I pray that she blesses us to share our knowledge. Blesses us with knowledge that can make an impact in the world. Bless us with knowledge that can leave a positive footprint in the world. Bless us with knowledge not to hurt, but knowledge to heal. So many people, when they possess knowledge, they manipulate the small man. They belittle others. They look down on others. They embarrass and humiliate others. But no, knowledge is something that we must share with everyone. Uplift the people around you. So who is Saraswati Maa? She's the goddess of knowledge. She's the one that possesses the books, which reminds you and I, share our knowledge. Don't be stingy with our knowledge. Looking at Saraswati Maa again, you will notice that she sits in a lotus flower. What does that lotus flower represent? What does that lotus flower mean? That lotus flower represents Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. So I want to ask you a question, okay? Where does a lotus flower grow? Does it grow in water that is very beautiful and clean? Or does it grow in water that appears to be very muddy and dirty? Which one? Clean or dirty? Dirty, excellent. But even though the lotus flower grows in water that appears to be dirty, Kavita, the lotus flower blossoms beautifully. In other words, the lotus flower is detached from the muddy water. Saraswati Maa sitting in that lotus flower, she's saying to you and I, be detached from the negativity. Be detached from the muddy waters around you. Be detached from those that are toxic, those that are impure. So many of times we allow the negativity of others to rub off on us. So many of times we allow ourselves to be influenced by something that is toxic, something that is impure. Saraswati Maa says no. She says, be detached from the negativity around you. Just because you were born and you grow in a place where there's crime, where there's a lot of murders, that doesn't mean you will automatically become a murderer. Don't allow your surroundings to define you. Don't allow the negativity around you to dirty, to muddy, to make you become toxic. Saraswati Maa with the lotus, she reminds us, be detached from that is negative. Be detached from what is impure. Continuing to look at that murti, that picture of Saraswati Maa, you will see that she has the mala. What does that mala represent? What does that mala mean? Take a guess. The mala symbolizes concentration, discipline, focus. In life, in order to achieve greatness, you cannot allow distractions to enter your pathway. Because the moment distractions enter your pathway, what happens? You stray. But when you are focused, when your mind is concentrated, you can achieve everything and anything. And Saraswati Maa holding that mala, she says to you and I, be focused, concentrate, be disciplined. And when we can focus, we can achieve anything. And I'm sure all of you can agree, especially those of you that have your little children. Children, sometimes they get a little distracted. And as a parent, you will look at them and say, son, daughter, focus, focus. Because you know when your child focus, they can make the impossible possible. Do you all agree, parents? Excellent, very good. And the same thing is for you. When you focus on something, you can achieve anything. Saraswati Maa with the mala indicates discipline, concentration. And looking at Saraswati Maa again, and I can see it right from where I am, she has a beautiful instrument in her hand. Anybody know what is the name of that instrument? Anybody? Don't tell me Sitara. Anybody will take a guess? The veena. Excellent. The veena is what Saraswati Maa is holding in her hands. What does that veena represent? When that veena is played, music emits, sound emits. A beautiful melody, a beautiful harmony can be created. Saraswati Maa playing that veena reminds you and I to tune our mind, tune our heart, to live in unity, to live in harmony, to live in togetherness. That is what the veena that Saraswati Maa plays. She reminds us, live in harmony, train our mind, train our heart to live in unity. And in the world we live in today, there's so much war, there's so much chaos, there's so much disruptions in families. There's little to no harmony, little to no unity. Saraswati Maa tells us, when she plays that veena, tune your heart and your mind to live as one. Tune your heart and your mind to accept people for who they are. Because devotees, you may look a little different, I may speak a little different, but you know something? You and I, we are all human beings. Do you all agree? Yes. No matter, we may walk a little different, we may dress a little different, we may speak a little different. We are all human beings in the end of the day. We must love one another, respect one another, adore one another. But in the world we live in today, I am sure all of you will respect others. I am sure all of you live in harmony with one another. But not everyone will be like you. There are some people in the world, only war, only fight, only chaos they want in their lives. You may look up at people, you may admire people no matter how they are, no matter who they are, no matter the status they have in life. But some will look down on you. Some will be embarrassed to be seen with you. Some will spread rumors and will speak you. And that is the reality of life today. And our Katha tonight, my dear devotees, it speaks about an individual who was looked down upon, an individual who people scorned, who people rumored about, gossip about, who people were embarrassed to be seen with. And I'm going to show you how, as time went about, that individual who was a little different, a little unique, was able to attain respect, was able to attain adoration and admiration. Saraswati Maa, she's the goddess of knowledge. Not only that, but she's the goddess of harmony, the one that reminds you and I to respect one another, live and coexist with one another. She's the one that reminds us to concentrate and focus on our goals. She's the one that reminds us to be detached from the negativity around us. And that is who Saraswati Maa is. As we enter the pages of our scriptures tonight, who is this individual that was looked down upon? Who is this individual that others fail to live in unity with? I tell you, as I ask you to clap, I ask you to sing as we glorify. Hari Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Everybody, Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Mahalakshmi Maa. Namo Namo Mahalakshmi Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Mahakali Maa. Oh, Namo Namo Mahakali Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Mahabhadra Maa. Namo Namo Mahabhadra Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Mahabhage Maa. Namo Namo Mahabhage Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Mahavidya Maa. Oh, Namo Namo Mahavidya Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe 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 Maa. By yourself. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe. Everybody. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadam. Clap with me, everybody. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Jai Sharadama 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 Namo Namo Jagadambe. Everybody. Namo Namo Jai Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Saraswati Devi Mata ki Jai. It is said once there lived a Brahmana by the name of Devdat. And Devdat had everything one can desire except one. He had everything besides one thing, him and his Dulahin. And maybe you might know what he was missing. When you get married, after some time, what do you wish for? Couples? Are children? When you get married, as time progresses, more times than not, you wish to have a son or you wish to have a daughter. And Devdat, he had a wish, he had a desire to have a son who he can teach, a son who he can inspire, a son who he can motivate, a son who he can bring the best out of. And he decided, in order to have this son, he would perform a yajna, perform a puja, perform a sacrifice. It is said, Devdat नाम एक ब्राह्मण के पास कोई संशय नहीं थे, इसलिए उसने बच्चों को प्राप्त करने के लिए पुरुषेष्टि नानक एक बलिदान किया. He decided that in order to have this child, he would perform the Putreshti puja, a sacrifice. So he went to the forest region and he built a little shed, beautiful little shed. And he called some of the Brahmins, the Munis that were filled with knowledge, filled with wisdom and brilliance. And he invited all of them to come and chant and recite the various mantras that was necessary to have this child. So the best of the best Munis came, my dear devotees, and they started to chant, they started to pray, they started to glorify in the name of the Devis and in the name of the Devdas. And amongst all of the Munis, there was one by the name of Govil Muni. And Govil Muni was said to be the best out of all of them. Very proficient, very efficient in whatever he was doing. So while they were chanting, puja is going great, worship is going great, Govil made a mistake in chanting. And you know what that mistake was? He stopped for a half a second to take a breath. That was the mistake he made. He stopped for a half a second to just take a breath. And you all would know when you are talking constantly, or you're singing constantly, or you're chanting something, or you're doing a presentation, sometimes you just need to, in the middle of the sentence, you pause, breathe, and you continue. Isn't that so? Excellent. And that was what Govil Muni did. Chanting very beautifully, chanting with so much efficiency, he just took a half a second and paused, just to breathe. And the moment he did that, my dear devotees, you know what Devdat did? Devdat opened his eyes and he said, Govil, tum ek anpar adane ke tara apne kaam kar rahe ho. He said, Govil, you are supposed to be the best out of the best of the best, and you are chanting your mantras like an illiterate individual. Those were the words of Devdat. He said, Govil, you are supposed to be the best of the best, but you are chanting like an illiterate individual. And Devdat started to shout and call Govil Muni an illiterate individual. He became very angry. He said, how dare you make such a mistake in chanting? How dare you? You are supposed to be better than all of us. You are not supposed to make a mistake. And now making this mistake, what if something goes wrong in the puja? What if I don't get the son that I wish for? You are chanting like an illiterate individual. And Devdat, he started to insult, he started to quarrel, he started to shout, and he allowed his anger to get the better of him. For one simple mistake, a breath. Let us pause here and let us analyze something. I don't want you to say I stray. No, I don't stray. I elaborate. Be very attentive. How many of you sitting right here, right now, you get angry today? Raise your hand proudly. Jai Shri Ram. Only I, honest, you all in temple, don't lie, you know. Good, excellent. You all raised your hand. Very good. Each and every one of us, we get angry. Anger is something that is in all of us. But you know something? Anger solves nothing. Anger builds nothing. But anger can destroy every single thing. Anger can destroy every single thing. And Govil, he made one simple mistake, which was just taking a breath in the middle of the chant. And he was being insulted, being called illiterate. The anger of Devdat got the better of him. And in the world that we live in today, anger sometimes gets the better of all of us. And there are 4 types of anger. You all know what are the 4 types of anger? And each one of you, including myself, we would fall into one of these. The first type of anger is known as justifiable anger. What does that mean? The word says it. Anger that is justified, meaning you are angry, you are upset for a specific reason. Some injustice is being done, and you decide to speak up. You decide to stand up, and you get angry against those that are causing the pain. You get angry against those that are doing the wrong thing. Justifiable anger. And recently in our country, there are many people that came together and justifiably they were angry, standing up for a cause that we all know. I won't mention. That is justifiable anger. How many of you experience justifiable anger? Yes? Excellent. You get angry, but there's a reason behind it. You get angry for a specific purpose. Stand up for something that is right. That is why you sometimes may get that justifiable anger. The second type of anger is known as annoyance anger. What is annoyance anger? Annoyance anger is when something happens that annoys you and you allow that anger to build up inside you all day and spoil your entire day. For example, you're driving on the road, and somebody give you a bad drive. What do? Kavi, you press down on that horn. Isn't that so? What do you say what do you say? Sometimes you shout to yourself in your car, "Wam to buy license." And when you get a chance and you overtake, what do? You turn your eyes from the road and you watch him and you point him up. It happens to all of us because we became annoyed. We became annoyed by that. And when we go to work now, what happens? We're so angry, we're so aggravated and agitated, we are telling everybody the kind of ridiculous drivers we have, or the kind of crazy drivers on the road. So that is annoyance anger. And you allow that one incident to affect you throughout the entire day, and you continue to get angrier. How many of you experience annoyance anger, where one little thing angers you for the whole day? Excellent, very good. The next one is called aggressive anger. Aggressive anger is where something happens and you become aggressive. You're ready to fight, you're ready to quarrel, you're ready to inflict some sort of harm. And sometimes aggressive anger can turn or lead you into verbally abusing someone or physically abusing someone. And that is a type of anger. I won't ask which one of you gets it, but it is a type of anger that comes into us at some points in time. Sometimes things happen and we just can't control it anymore. We let everything out. We say harsh words, and worst case scenario, we're ready to fight. That is aggressive anger. You all experience that once, eh? Jai Shri Ram, you answer. We all experience it at points in time. And the final type of anger is known as temper tantrum. What is that now? What is temper tantrum? Now, temper tantrum is something you most see with little children. This is where the child throws a tantrum. And that tantrum the child throws is for something that he or she cannot get. For example, child goes into a toy store, see a nice toy, they want the toy, mommy daddy doesn't want to buy the toy. What does the child do? Throw himself in the ground. And sometimes that child starts to cry and make a scene. He throws a tantrum. And what does the parents do? They buy the toy for the child, or sometimes they take the child up and out the store they go. Now, temper tantrum is usually with children. However, sometimes as a child grows, if they do not or they are not corrected, they grow with it. And as they become an adult, when they can't get something, they throw a tantrum. When they can't get something their way, they burn the whole place down. And we see it in the world today. I don't know how many of you experience it, but sometimes people as adults, when they can't get something, they do everything possible to make sure you do it for them. They throw that tantrum. It is mostly in children, however. And that is the 4 types of anger. Temper tantrum, aggressive anger, annoyance anger, and justifiable anger. And I'm sure all of you here, you would have either experienced the types of anger, or you would have met people who fall into one of those categories. Which one do you think Devdat was? Was Devdat justifiably angry? Was he annoyance angry, or aggressive angry, or temper tantrum? Which one was he throwing? How many of you say he was justifiably angry? Nobody. Excellent. He wasn't. How many of you say he had annoyance anger? Nobody. Excellent. How many say he was throwing a temper tantrum? Nobody. How many of you say he was aggressive? Everyone. Very good. The anger that Devdat showed was aggressive anger, where he got verbally abusive and he started to insult and humiliate Govil Muni. Why? Because of one simple mistake. In the world we live in today, there are people, they will not look at the good that we do, but the one mistake we make. They criticize us, they condemn us, they insult us, they humiliate us, they embarrass us. Run from these types of people. Life is too short to allow someone to insult you like that. Life is too short to allow someone who has no impact or value in your life to insult you. Devdat had no impact in the life of Govil. He had no right to insult him for one simple mistake. Govil Muni, listening to the words of Devdat, what do you think Govil Muni did? If someone is insulting you, what will you do? Stay quiet and take it? No. You mash them back up. Was it not so? You quarrel back. Govil Muni, he looked at Devdat and he said, Devdat, you are calling me illiterate. You are becoming angry with me because of one simple mistake. I took a breath in the middle of chanting. Because of your ignorance and because of what you are saying to me, Tumhara beta anapada hoga. Your son will be born illiterate. For calling me illiterate, your son will be born illiterate. And the moment Govil Muni said these words to Devdat, all anger gone. He fell at the feet of Govil and he started to immediately apologize. And you know what he said? He said, oh Govil Muni, why did you curse me with something like that? How can you say that my son will be born illiterate? Why would you say something like that? I just corrected you on one thing. There was no need to give such a harsh curse. And you know what Devdat is showing us there? When you give someone a taste of their own medicine, sometimes they don't like how it tastes. And that is the reality of the world. When someone is bullying, when someone is being aggressive to you and you stand up to them or you put them in their place, sometimes they don't like it. And Devdat, he didn't like that Govil Muni put a curse on him. He started to beg for that forgiveness. And he said, oh Govil, it is better to have no son than to have an illiterate son. Can you imagine what all the other Brahmins, all the Sadhus, the Munis will say? They will look down on my son. They will laugh at my son. And worse yet, they will look down on me and my Dulahin. No one wants a Brahmin that is illiterate. No one respects a person like that. And now, watch what you have done. You have given me a son. You are blessing me with a son that will be illiterate. And watch what Devdat was afraid of. He was afraid of what other people will say. He was afraid of what the other Brahmins and Munis would say. He was afraid of what the villagers would say. How many of you sitting here right now, you're afraid of what other people may say? How many parents in the world today, they have a child that is gifted. They have a child that is unique. But they are afraid how the outside world will treat that child. It happens. Outside there is very harsh. Not everyone is compassionate like you and I. There are some people, they will mock you. They will laugh at you. They will belittle you. And this is what Devdat was afraid of. He was afraid now having a child that is different. People will look down on him. People will laugh at him. People will ill-treat him. And we see it happening in today's world. And it happens at a very young age. Imagine you have a son that is unique. You have a son that is gifted in some way or the other. And you send that child to school. What happens to that child when they go to school? Does all the children play with them? Does all the children sit and eat lunch with them? Does all these children talk to them for recess? Some will, but the others may avoid. The others may gossip about the child. And I'm seeing many of you shaking your head in agreement with me. That's good, because it happens in the world today, and it starts at a very young age. Parents, if you don't remember anything I have said or will say, teach your sons, your daughters, your loved ones to have respect for each and every individual. Because we may look a little different, we may speak a little different, but we are all human beings in the end of the day. We all have to exist together. And we see so many children that are disabled, so many children that are gifted, being shut down, being bullied, being humiliated by the outside world, by their classmates, by their co-workers, and even their friends and their family. It is the reality of the world today, my dear friends. It is the reality of the world. Sad, isn't it? Sad. And there are many parents out there, they're afraid, just like Devdat, how the world will treat their child, how the world will look at their child, how that child will grow up in life. And you know something? When that child starts off school, maybe he or she won't take on what is happening. But as they grow up in life and they see people avoiding them, they hear people ill-speaking them, they hear or they notice people looking down on them, sometimes that can start to affect that child. And you know what can happen? That child may become afraid. That child may become scared. And worst case scenario, that child may want to end his or her life. And it happens in the world today. You and I, we have the power, my dear devotees, to change and to motivate someone's life. And you and I have the power to take and demotivate someone in their life. Your words are very powerful. Whether you use words that are motivating, use words that are inspiring, you can completely transform someone. And when you use words that are insultive and harsh, you can lead a person to suicide. That is how powerful you and I are. And which one will you choose? Which one is people in the outside world choosing today? Are they choosing to use words of encouragement, words of inspiration and motivation, and help their brothers and sisters that are gifted, that are special, that are unique? Or are they choosing to use words that bring pain, bring suffering to that child that is unique? I'm sure all of you here, you will motivate and inspire anyone that is different. How many people on the outside will do it? And I will share a simple example with you. Just a couple of days ago, I went to a function, and leading into the function, in order to enter the door, we had to sign due to the COVID-19. And there was a young boy in front of me, probably about 19 or 20 years. He was visually impaired. However, when he went to sign, it was very difficult for him to sign, very difficult for him to see in between the line to sign. So he asked the individual standing by the register, he said, "Mom, can you please just write my name here for me? It's a little hard to see." You know what the individual looked at the young boy and said? "What happened? Big man like you can't write?" He said, "No, Mom, it's not that. I just have a little problem with seeing." You know what the individual went on to say? "What happened? You're blind? Your mother and father never buy glasses for you?" And I looked at this individual in utter shock. I went up and I said, "Son, don't worry. Tell me your name, I will write it for you." And I looked at the lady and I said, "Mom, not everyone is fortunate like you to have eyes that are fully working. Not everyone is fortunate like you." I took the young man, I walked him inside. And that is the reality of the world. In a society today, that is how some people treat others. And all the young man said was, "Mom, can you please write for me? Can you just please write my name?" And watch how he was insulted and humiliated. My dear devotees, I pray and I wish that wherever you are, you stand up for those that may not be able to stand up for themselves. Stand up for those that are unique and special and gifted. Stand up for when you see things going wrong. Stand up for when you see things going downhill. Because you standing up to that person, or you standing up for a person that is struggling, that can change their life. The young boy, he looked at me and he said, "You don't know me, but thank you. Thank you. It was an embarrassing situation, but thank you for helping me." And he went on his way. I pray that all of you sitting here tonight, all of you looking on via Sankhya television, looking on via the different Facebook pages, help those in need, assist those in need, uplift and motivate those in need. Don't look down on them. Devdat, he was worried that the world will look down on his child. Listen to what takes place as we clap, as we sing, we glorify. Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada 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 Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Mahabhadra Maa, Namo Namo Mahabhadra Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Mahavidya Maa, Namo Namo Mahavidya Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagadambe Maa. Everybody, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Jagat, Namo Namo Jai Sharada Maa, Namo Namo Saraswati Devi Mata ki. Little louder. Saraswati Devi Mata ki. Beautiful. And this was the fear of Devdat. Govind Muni looked at him and he said, Devdat, it is because of your anger that led you to this situation. What I said, I cannot take back. However, your child will not be illiterate forever. There will come a point in time when knowledge will flow through his mind. Respect will come from all directions to that same son of yours. Devdat, feeling glad at heart to hear the words of Govind, he was still a little hurt that he would spend so much time with his son and not get to enjoy that son. It is said, my dear devotees, as time went on, Govind Muni and his Dulahin Rohini, they had a son. And this son, my dear devotees, he was born illiterate. Couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't even speak. It is said when that child was 8 years old, that father did Janev for him as he was a Brahman. And that father sat and he started to teach that son to read from the Vedas and the Puranas and the scriptures. But the child could not. Father tried to teach that child to read, to write, to chant, to sing, to do worship, to pray. The child could not. All how that father and mother tried, the child couldn't. He would get very distracted very quickly. Lose focus very, very quickly. And that child, my dear devotees, beautiful and unique. But in the eyes of his parents, dare I use the word, a burden. As time progressed and that child grew up in life, you know what happened? People started to notice that the son of Devdat, whose name was Utatia, was illiterate. People, rather than supporting, they started to spread rumors about that little boy and his parents. They started to gossip about Utatia and his parents. They looked down on them. They saw them as an embarrassment. In the reality of the world, it is not only happening now, it happened back then. And Devdat, fully well knowing that people looking down on his son, the rishis, the munis, the brahmins, the villagers, they are looking down on the family. You know what Devdat and his Dulahin said? As time went on and realizing people are looking down on them, people are laughing at them, people are spreading rumors about their son, how he cannot read, write and barely speak. Devdat looked at his Dulahin one day and he said, it is better to have a blind son than the son we have now. That was the words of that father. It is better to have a blind son than the son we have now. And Utatia, just a little boy, hearing the words of his parents and realizing how people are looking at him, that little boy felt that pain. That little child felt the shock when he heard his own father say, it is better to have a blind child than the child he currently has. Those words, my dear devotees, it stung that little boy, that child. Tears in his eyes. You know what that child did? That child left home. And that child ran to the forest region, a very dense part in the forest region. And he went to the banks of the Ganga river as a little boy, embarrassed, knowing fully well he's a burden not only to his parents, but people are looking down and embarrassed to be around him, embarrassed to see him. It affected that child, and it can affect any one of us in today's world. Any one of us can be affected by it. All because of the words. So you see what I said earlier? Your words can hurt, your words can heal, your words can uplift, your words can bring down. Devdat said words that were hurtful, words that were shocking, and words that can destroy someone. And this little boy, Utatia, he left home and he ran into the dense part of the forest region, and sitting on the banks of that Ganga in a little shed, all he thought in his mind as he had tears in his eyes was he was of no use to his parents. He thought in his mind, an illiterate Brahmin is like a cow who cannot give milk. An illiterate Brahmin is like a tree that cannot bear fruit. It is useless. He thought that he was useless. He thought that he was no good. All because of the harsh words, all because of how society looked down on him. And not only that, my dear devotees, but as time went on in that forest region, Utatia, he lived a life knowing he was a burden, knowing he brought shame to his family, but he lived a life wondering when he would no longer be a burden to the world. He lived a life wondering when will he exit this material world. He didn't want to live anymore. And that is how society can be today. Society can be very dangerous. They can lead you, even as a child, to doing things you never thought you would have done. Devotees, you don't know what that person next to you is going through right now. I am looking at the members of my group. I know each one of them. I love each one of them. But I don't know their intimate battles. They don't know my intimate battles. You may not know the intimate battle of your child. Your child may not know the battle that you as the parents are going through. We all face difficulties, my dear friends. And sometimes when difficulties come, all we need to do is talk to someone. And all someone needs to do is listen to us. Sometimes when difficulties come, Kavi, one of the best things we can do is give a listening ear to someone. Whether it is a stranger, whether it is a friend. Because sometimes a person just needs to talk. Sometimes a person just needs a friend. And they may see that friend in you. Don't turn away, people, but listen to them. You have no idea how you, just sitting, just listening, can make a difference in that child or that individual's life. You sitting and listening to someone can be the difference as to if that person takes his or her own life or continues to fight through difficulties of life. Utatia, being drained by society, being looked down upon by even his own parents, he wanted to know, when will his life end? And he thought in his mind, he is living this life because of his karma. He thought to himself, he is living this life because maybe in his previous lives he never prayed. Maybe because in his previous lives he never offered gel. Maybe because in his previous lives he ill-spoke someone or he belittled someone. He thought karma was just playing its part. And that young boy, as he grew up in life, my dear devotees, he lived in that forest. He didn't know how to do jap. He didn't know how to offer gel. He didn't know how to do hawan. He didn't know how to chant. He didn't know how to sing. However, you know what he did do? He took a vow. He took a promise within himself that while in this forest, he will do no harm to anyone. He will be truthful. He will be honest as best as he can, all times as possible. He didn't know how to pray. He didn't know how to chant. He didn't know how to do things that you and I can do. But he said to himself, while in this forest, while I wait for my life to leave my body, I will be as truthful as I can. Years went by, my dear devotees, and pretty soon, people started to know about a Brahman living in the forest that is truthful. A Brahman living in the forest that never lies, that only speaks the truth. And as time went on, more and more people became aware of him. However, he still didn't know how to pray. He still never knew how to sing. He didn't know how to do japa and hawan. But listen to what takes place in his life. When our difficulties come, it doesn't last forever. We all want happiness. No one wants pain. But you can never have a rainbow without a little bit of rain. And Utatia, he went through his difficult periods, and something was about to happen, where respect was about to come, admiration was about to come, where the world would now look up at him. I ask you to clap with me, sing with me, as we are coming very close to the end of our satsang tonight. We glorify you. Om Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa. Clap with me, sing with me as we create that energy, we create that vibration. Om Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa. Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa.
Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa.
Mahabhadra Maa,
Mahabhadra Maa,
Jai 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 Mahabhadra Maa, Mahabhadra Maa,
Mahabhadra Maa,
Jai 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 Mahabhadra Maa. O Saraswati Maa, O Saraswati Maa, O Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa. Mahavidya Maa, Mahavidya Maa, Jai 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 Mahavidya Maa, Mahavidya Maa, oh Mahavidya Maa, Jai 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 Mahavidya Maa, oh Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa. Mahakali Maa, oh Mahakali Maa, Jai 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 Mahakali Maa, Mahakali Maa, oh Mahakali Maa, Jai 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 Mahakali Maa, oh Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa. Mahalakshmi Maa, oh
Mahalakshmi Maa, Jai 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 Mahalakshmi Maa,
Mahalakshmi Maa,
oh Mahalakshmi Maa, Jai 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 Mahalakshmi Maa.
oh Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa, oh Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Saraswati Maa, Jai 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 Together. Om Saraswati Maa, Saraswati Maa. Everybody. Jai Jai Saraswati Maa. Together. Prem se bolo Saraswati Devi Mata ki. Utatia, spending many years in that forest, never lie, spoke the truth. It is said one day he was faced with a situation. It is said in that forest where he stayed, there was a hunter. And that hunter shot a boar. And that boar, my dear devotees, with that arrow in it, that boar started to bleed. And that boar ran in direction of Utatia. And when Utatia saw that boar, saw the boar bleeding, he felt the pain, he felt pity, he felt distress seeing that boar. He felt compassion. He looked at that boar, my dear devotees, and he's seeing that boar in pain, and then he sees the hunter that is searching for that boar. And he says in his mind, if I don't do something, then this boar will lose its life. Utatia looking at the hunter in the distance and seeing the boar run past him. You know what Utatia did? He opened his mouth and he shouted. And when he shouted, the only song that came out of his mouth were the letters A, I, A. He kept on shouting, A, A. And that boar, hearing the sound, he stopped and he turned and he saw Utatia. That boar ran back in the direction of Utatia and hid behind some bushes near him. Now, devotees, I want to ask you something. AI, if you add one letter into it, what word do you get? Not aim, there's another word. You get aim. And aim is the seed mantra of Saraswati Maa. Utatia, he couldn't say aim, he said I. He just missed the M. And that is the seed mantra of Saraswati Maa. Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. And that was all he said, just I. That boar ran back in his direction, hiding behind in some bushes near to Utatia. The hunter came up, and the hunter, looking at this Brahman, he put his hands together and he said, my friend, I am looking for a boar that would have run past here. And I know that you have a reputation to speak the truth. Tell me where this boar has gone. The only reason I am asking is because I hunt to take care of my family. I hunt to look after my family. If I don't hunt, my family will have nothing to eat. They will have nothing to survive upon. I do it to take care of their livelihood. And Utatia, hearing the words of the hunter, well, now he felt compassion for the hunter. Because he said the hunter has to take care of his family. So now he was put in a spot. Should he lie and say he doesn't know where the boar gone? Or should he tell the truth and allow the boar to lose its life? So that was the situation. It is either he lies to the hunter and says, I have not seen the boar, or he tells the truth to the hunter and allows the boar to lose its life. So that was the dilemma. And Utatia, being, as I said in the beginning, illiterate, the only words that came out of his mouth was A. But A was the mantra, seed mantra of Saraswati Maa. And by simply saying A, because of how detached Utatia was from the world, because of how pure he was, noble and divine he was, it is said Saraswati Maa, just hearing A, she blessed Utatia. And the moment the Devi showered her blessing, showered her grace on Utatia, the gateways of knowledge started to flow. Just as Govil Muni told his father many years back, your son will not be illiterate for long. There will come a point in time where knowledge will enter into his mind, enter into his life. And that knowledge will make a difference in the world. Utatia, being struck with this dilemma, he opens his mouth. And as he opens his mouth, being blessed by the greatness, by the grace of Saraswati Maa, you know what Utatia says? He looks at the hunter and he says, the eyes that see cannot speak. The mouth that speaks cannot see. The eyes that see cannot speak. Mouth that speaks cannot see. A powerful, powerful statement. Utatia saying these words, amazed to hear these words coming out of his own mouth. The hunter looked at him and he left, feeling very disappointed. Feeling very disappointed. Utatia, he didn't break his vow. He spoke the truth. The eyes cannot speak and the mouth cannot see. And as that knowledge, my dear devotees, started to flow through him, as time progressed, Utatia was able to read, Utatia was able to sing, Utatia was able to pray and do japa, perform puja. And before you know it, that name started to spread throughout the entire forest. Not as Utatia, but as a Muni in the forest who speaks the truth, known as Satya Vrata, the one that tells no untruth. Satyavrata Utatia being blessed by simply saying "ay." Simply saying "ay." He was now able to read, he was now able to understand, he was now able to write, he was now able to uplift himself spiritually. And his name spread throughout the entire land. It is said such knowledge entered into him, so much was he versed as time went along, that those same Brahmins, those same people that looked down on him, they now were looking up at him. All because of the blessing of Saraswati Maa. He was able to study, he was able to learn, he was able to put himself in a position where he would be rivaled by none. All because of the blessings of Saraswati Maa. Pretty soon his name spread to the village in which he grew up, and the words came back to his father and his mother that the son Utatia, who is known as Satyavrat, is the definition of pure brilliance, is the definition of pure greatness, is the definition of pure knowledge. That same little boy, that same individual that people scorn, that same individual that people laughed at, that people spread rumors about, everyone was standing up and taking notice now. Everyone was keeping their mouth shut and being amazed and being in awe of him. He was different, he was unique. However, he made a difference. He made an impact. All because of the blessing of Saraswati Maa. He didn't say any big, long, complicated mantra. All he said was "I." But he was pure at heart. And devotees in life, when we do things with a pure mind, a pure heart, when we do things with innocence, success will always come at some point in time. Always remember that. Saraswati Maa will always bless us with her grace, always bless us with her divinity. She will never see us suffer for long. Utatia, he suffered for a point in time, but by her blessings and her grace, he was now being admired and adored by each and everyone. My dear devotees, children, brothers and sisters, you may be different, you may be unique, you may have a disability, but let me tell you something. You were born to make an impact in the world. You were born to create a difference. You were born to change this world. And don't let anyone else tell you anything different. Each and every one of us, we are unique, we are beautiful, we are divine. And we are here to leave a positive footprint in the lives of the people we meet, in the lives of the people we come into contact with. And this is my simple message to each and every one of you. I pray that Saraswati Maa blesses you now and always. May she give you that knowledge to leave a positive footprint. No matter who you are, no matter what struggle you are going through here now, you chant Om Aim Saraswati Namaha. And she will make the impossible possible. She's the goddess of knowledge, the goddess of wisdom. She's the one that blesses us with concentration. She's the one that reminds us to be detached from the negativity of the world. She's the one, my dear devotees, that will make sure we leave a positive footprint in this world. Prem se bolo Saraswati Devi Mata ki Jai. So with this in mind, I ask Pandit to perform Hawan at this point in time as we do this beautiful chant to Saraswati Maa, and then we continue with the program from at this point. If Manisha and Ashish and Nikisha is here, organize and prepare yourself for what comes next, okay? Hari Om. Everybody, clap with me. Those of you that have your children with you, I am positive that you know your son, your daughter is gifted. Love them and adore them, and give them the opportunity to make a difference in the world today. As we clap, as we sing, we glorify. Hari Om. Amba Bhavani Sharare Jagadamba Bhavani Sharare Amba Bhavani Sharare Jagadamba Bhavani Sharare Amba Bhavani Sharare Jagadamba Bhavani. Everybody clap with me. सरसा उल्लासनी
साहित्य रसपान सरसा उल्लासिनी
कवि जन भूषणी गामा विलोचनी
कवि जन भूषणी गान विलोचन अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे
साहित्य रसपान सरसा उल्लासनी
साहित्य रसपान सरसा उल्लासिनी
कवि जन भूषणी गामा विलोचनी
कवि जन भूषणी गान विलोचन अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे
अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे
अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे
अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे
अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे अम्बा भवानी शारदे
जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे जगदम्बा भवानी शारदे Sharade Jagadamba Bhavani Sharade. प्रेम से बोलो सरस्वती देवी माता की जय. उमापति महादेव की. Little louder. Saraswati Mata ki. Beautiful. So at this point in time, my dear devotees, we have a very short, very beautiful program. Manisha Shah and Asha Shah, the founders of the Maha Durga Sangam, will be performing a beautiful rendition in Teen Tal on their beautiful tabla. So I ask each and every one of you to be very much attentive with them as they play. Manisha and Ashish, they are very talented, they are very beautiful, very hard-working individuals. And together with the Shiva Gana organization, they work on promoting and bringing awareness of musical instruments and everything that is divine and everything that is spiritual to the world. So can we please give Manisha and Ashish a huge round of applause as they perform their recital, their rendition in Teen Tal. 16 matras. Da, din, din, da. Da, din, din, da. Da, din, din, da. Da, din, din, da. So while they set up, in the name of Saraswati Maa, we just meditate upon her. Om Saraswataya Namaha. 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 So once again, give them a huge round of applause as they begin. Beautifully, beautifully done. So my dear devotees, once again, Manisha Shah and Ashish Shah, founders of the Mahadurga Sangam. So the young children that are looking on and amazed by that beautiful rendition, and you would like to get in contact with them, I'm sure they are willing to meet all of you. And they are prime examples of using their knowledge to leave an impact in this world. So moving quickly along, we have a dance that will be done by a very young, very beautiful little Devi by the name of Nikisha Shah. And Nikisha, she will be performing a Saraswati dance in Bharatnatyam. And Nikisha, she's a student of the Samagama Foundation led by a very brilliant young man by Alan Samaruji. And this dance, my dear devotees, is giving salutations to Divine Mother and asking for her blessings, her wisdom and her protection, saluting the Divine Mother, Saraswati Maa. So please give it up for Nikisha.
नाचत 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 आई सरस्वती नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती गावत गावत सुमधुर गान नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती गावत गावत सुमधुर गान नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती गावत गावत सुमधुर गान नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती बोलत सुंदर मुख से वेद बोलत सुंदर मुख से वेद ब्रह्मपुरी में सब मिल जाए ब्रह्मपुरी में सब मिल जाए बोलत सुंदर मुख से वेद ब्रह्मपुरी में सब मिल जाए नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती गावत गावत सुमधुर गान नाचत नाचत आई सरस्वती
Beautifully done, my dear devotees. So once again, Nikisha, she's a student of the Samagama Foundation led by Alanji. So those of you who have your sons and daughters who would like to, and you would like to enroll them in dance, Bhai Alan is definitely the way to go. So my dear devotees, before we do our closing arati, we have a very esteemed guest with us, and that is Bhai C. Govinji. So Bhai Ji, I would ask you to come and bring greetings, and then we go straight into our closing arati.
Thank you, Pundit ji. Vyas Pundit ji, Pujari Pundit, this is Prince Rota, members of the devotional group, ladies and gentlemen, President of the Mandir, ladies and gentlemen, Sitaram to all of you. And it is my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of the Hindu Festival Society on this very auspicious event, the hosting of the Saraswati Devi observance today. I want to firstly commend and thank Pandit Kimraj for the wonderful job that he has done in bringing up Ajay. And sitting there, he is well accomplished. So those accomplishments will reflect on the teacher. So it is well done. And Ajay, I think you're well set on the course for big things. So my commendation to you. Just a few more things again. Kavita and family, that is, Kavita and her family members, they are the sponsors of today's event and program. So this is done. Kavita is given praises and thanks for the success that she have achieved as an attorney at law. She was graduated in 2019, and it took her a little time before it reached to this function to say thank you, Lord, for the very wonderful achievement. So we all are very proud of you, Kavita. My congratulations to you, and we are very thankful for your gesture, and we pray that your talent will grow from strength to strength as you practice your profession. But we hold in you to your promise that you will continue to work with the temple and you'll be able to do things. Now, this institution is the Saraswati Devi Ashram. And the intention of this mandir through the Shiva Ganas is to teach music, songs, music, and dance to, at a very high scale. Now, we have teachers, I don't want to pull out my people, neither, it might signal that I'm talking for too long. But we have teachers, proper, good quality of teachers to teach our children. And so I must tell you that we are ready for that. So Sitaram to all of you. What I'll say, happy Saraswati Jayanti to one and all. May Saraswati Mata richly bless us all. Sitaram.
Beautiful words. Thank you. So my dear devotees, on my own behalf, I want to thank Kavita and her beautiful family for hosting the satsang. Kavita, may Saraswati Maa continue to shower her blessings upon you, and may you continue to grow and learn and use your knowledge to make an impact and a difference in the world today. To the members of my group, I want to thank you all so very much, Vayu, Kavir, Vikash, Randi, Priya, Bayanarayanji and Mataji. And to you, the beautiful devotees, friends and family who came tonight, thank you for your love, thank you for your support. I really do hope you were able to learn something, remember something, put it into practice. So at this point in time, my dear friends, aap log karao jaye. Let us all stand for our closing arati, and then we'll have closing prayer by Pundit Ajay Rambally ji. Hare Jai Saraswati Mata, Maya Jai Saraswati Mata, Saraguna Vaibhavashalini, Saraguna Vaibhavashalini, Tribhuvana Vikayata. Om Jai Saraswati Mata, Saraswati Mata, Maya Jai Saraswati Mata, Saraguna Vaibhavashalini, Saraguna Vaibhavashalini, Tribhuvana Vikayata. Om Jai Saraswati Mata.
Mangalakari
सरस्वती माता सर्वगुण वैभवशालिनी सर्वगुण वैभवशालिनी त्रिभुवन विख्याता ओम जय सरस्वती माता जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी 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 माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी 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 माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी 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 माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती 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 जय माँ देवी माँ जय माँ देवी माँ जय सरस्वती माँ प्रेम से बोलो सरस्वती माता की जय. So let us all put hands together as I ask Pandit Kemaraji to do closing prayer for us. Put hands together as we pray as a family. We pray with love. We pray with devotion.
Hari Om. Mantrahinam kriyahinam bhaktahinam janadanam yad pujitam dayadevam paripurnam tarastame Shiva Hare Shiva Rama Sakhi Prabhu Dridata Parivara Nahi Vivo Ajajani Sharayadrava Pahimam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Me Varam Pratidinam Kushalam Jayam Mangalam Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhu Cha Saka Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti.
प्रेम से बोलो गणेश भगवान की, शंकर भगवान की, प्रेम से बोलो सरस्वती देवी माता की, and as loud as you can, प्रेम से बोलो श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की. Turn to those next to you and greet them, Sita Ram. And please take your seats, my dear friends. Devotees, may Bhagwan bless each and every one of you. To the President, thank you all so very much for having me. To Sankhya, may Bhagwan bless you. So devotees, until next time, Sabkoi, Sita Ram.
Sitaram, my friends, as we prepare to do our Saraswati Puja, there are simple ingredients that we need to preparation to Saraswati Maa.